And we're off. How are y'all doing? It is Friday, June 24th, an historic day in the year of our Lord, 2022 AD, Anno Domini. I used to call it Anno Domini, or Anno Domini, Anno Domini. But I was told it's Anno Domini, something like that. And it's an historic day because we, the people of the United States of America, struck down the disgraceful Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey, or whatever that is. Nice. Nice. And it took a man lawyer, to argue the case for the, I think it is a female attorney general over there in Mississippi, but her solicitor general was a man, and he argued before the Supreme Court. I may play a clip from that. Guys, we'll have a fun loosey-goosey Friday show, and shout out to the based Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. As you know, earlier this week, I think that was yesterday or something like that, the Supreme Court, and I usually call it the so-called Supreme Court, but they're acting right, somewhat. Struck down that New York anti-gun law that violated the people, the rights of the people. This lawyer is not a slash liar. Most lawyers are lawyers slash liars, but this lawyer is not a lawyer liar. Well, let God be true and every man a liar, but as liars go, this was an honest lawyer. And there are some decent ones out there. One of the good ones, right? And also, this disgraceful thing, there's this Disney movie, Disney, makes me want to spit. Ugh. Has a lesbians kissing or something like that in this movie, called Lightyear, called Last Year, Buzz Last Year, disgraceful. And there was this Oklahoma movie theater that didn't want it to show it. They were like, oh, we're going to fast forward through it. Kind of like how you guys should probably fast forward through the Hake music during the month of June, in which I troll you with the degenerate, not morally straight music. Well, they put up a sign, oh, we're going to censor it for you. We'll fast forward it. It may not be exact, but we'll fast forward through that part. And then there was backlash, so they decided not to do it. Psh. The Muslims are better about this issue than the so-called Christian countries. Shameful. All that and your calls, you can call in. But anyway, guys, let's get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
So, how are y'all doing? I am fine. Voice cracked. Hake is still growing. Yeah. Whoa, I noticed that we didn't play AJ Gallardo original theme song. But he says sorry. That's all right. Once we give him one chance. Normally we play the AJ Gallardo original, but perhaps in favor of the more sensible, politically minded liberal musician, because all musicians are liberals. We played the Trevor Wesley redo. Nice. Shout out to Trevor Wesley. Shout out to AJ Gallardo. Those are two musician guys who did the Hake Report theme song. And I won't tell you their rates. You can check into it yourself. And they do not necessarily endorse Hake views, which are not fake views, by the way. I am wearing my Better, Not Bitter t-shirt. Better, Not Bitter. It is a Bond Rebuilding the Man Teespring store t-shirt. And you can find it by going to rebuildingtheman.com/stores. It's not on the Hake Report Teespring store, okay? It's not on the Hake Report Teespring store. One day he's going to spit. Don't spit, Hake. I know. Yikes. Lots of mess going on in the world. You can call in 888-775-3773. I want to cover this, this gun rights thing that the Supreme Court did. I saw this report or this tweet from Orange County, California sheriffs saying that they would review their policies to see if they need to handle things right in light of this new Supreme Court decision. Orange County, California is it's better than LA County, California. Put it that way. It's not saying much, though. This U.S. Supreme Court, but the sheriffs are okay, generally. Better than the rest of the politicians. The U.S. Supreme Court struck down a New York gun law on Thursday. This is far-left Twitter reporting. Enemies of America Twitter. Requiring people to demonstrate proper cause. And I read this for Justice Clarence Thomas struck this thing down. This beta thing down. Demonstrate proper cause to carry concealed firearms. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was America. And Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas said, yes, this is America. You have to have proper cause to carry concealed firearms outside your homes. Give me a break. The court voted 6-3, nice, arguing that the 108-year-old state law, nice, wow, 108-year-old law, struck down, violated the Constitution's 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment, isn't that the anchor baby law that allows slaves to be considered Americans? But then it also allows the illegal alien children who are born here in the country to be considered citizens? Anchor baby law, I thought. But anyway, violated the Constitution's 14th Amendment by preventing law-abiding citizens with ordinary self-defense needs from exercising their right to keep and bear arms, per the opinion. Written, I believe, by Clarence Thomas. According to the Washington Compost, the ruling could make it easier for people in at least half a dozen states to legally carry loaded firearms in public. What type of person would carry an unloaded firearm in public? What's the point of carrying a firearm if it's not loaded? I guess in some cases, just showing it, brandishing it, can put the fear of God back in people, right? In godless people. Nice. Right on. So I'm happy about that. It's funny, Twitter doesn't have their stuff together because I click on this U.S. Supreme Court strikes down a New York gun law restricting concealed carry. And as I scroll down to the tweets that they put there, they have a whole bunch of Roe v. Wade stuff. Dumb. Twitter, you're a mess. We need Elon Musk to get over their stat. Will Elon Musk make it functional? I don't know. But anyway, speaking of the abortion mess, far-left Twitter was promoting all the liberal media hyperventilating about abortion. Give me a break. You're not for what's right. Let me get right here on this. This is from far left, not a platform, it's a publisher, Twitter. They pretend to be a platform for the people, but they're not. U.S. Supreme Court strikes down landmark abortion decision. Roe v. Wade released its decision on Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization on Friday, voting to overturn Roe v. Wade, the 1973 ruling. 1973, what a disgrace. That's before many of us were born, right? Including me. The 1973 ruling that guaranteed federal constitution protections of abortion rights. There's no such thing as abortion rights. And people keep on saying ban so-called same-sex marriage next. Yeah. Yeah. Or at least don't be pretending that that's a real thing. Give me a break. This most recent case, heard by the Supreme Court in December 2021, just this past December, like 6 months ago, 7, centered on a Mississippi law banning abortion if the probable gestational age of the unborn human is more than 15 weeks. This ruling comes after a draft decision document that signaled this outcome leaked on May 2nd. And you all remember that. Justice Samuel Alito's thing. And so this brought me back. I was looking back at the Washington Compost. The Washington Compost is a disgusting, disgraceful, so-called news outlet, propaganda outlet, communist. Just hate Christians, hate whites, hate America. Their tagline is, let's kill America and cast America in darkness by giving them fake news. That's their line. Democracy dies in darkness. Not a democracy, dummies. Anyway, and they're evil. Okay, so this was December 1st headline from the Washington Compost. Supreme Court seems inclined to uphold this Mississippi abortion law that would undermine Roe v. Wade. And I found a clip of the arguments. And this clip is kind of long. It's like more than 3 minutes. Feels like 4 minutes because it's a woman talking. But thankfully, a man speaks in it too. And he keeps on getting rudely interrupted by this woman called so-called Justice Sotomayor. Sonia Sotomayor, Obama justice. Fake justice. Obama appointed. And so this is this is a video from the Washington Compost. Not much video, really. Just audio primarily, but it has pictures. During the Supreme Court oral arguments on December 1st, Justice Sonia Sotomayor pointedly refuted several arguments. No, she didn't refute anything. But anyway, supporting a Mississippi anti-abortion law. And the man, the Solicitor General, is a man, and he is handling this evil woman. I want to say a different word, but I want to be a good example, I guess. So listen to this mess. You'll hear the Solicitor General from Mississippi, beautiful state of Mississippi, Mississippi, versus this evil, phony Supreme Court Justice, Sonia Sotomayor. A dumb woman. Just dumb. A Latina, though. Here it is. Listen to this.
Viability is not tethered to anything in the Constitution, in history, or tradition. It's a quintessentially legislative line.
Counsel, there's so much that's not in the Constitution, including the fact that we have the last word. Marbury versus Madison. There is not anything in the Constitution that says that the Supreme Court, is the last word on what the Constitution means.
Nice, because
It's
it's not.
totally novel at that time. And yet, what the court did was reason from the structure of the Constitution that that's what was intended. And here in Casey and in Roe, the court said there is inherent in our structure that there are certain personal decisions that belong to individuals and the states can't intrude on them.
The viability line discounts and disregards state interests, and the undue burden standard has all of the problems that
How is your interest anything but a religious view? The issue of when life begins has been hotly debated by philosophers since the beginning of time. It's still debated in religions. So when you say this is the only right that takes away from the state the ability to protect a life, that's a religious view, isn't it? Because it assumes that a fetus is life at when? You're
What
not
an annoying
trying- you're-
woman.
When do you suggest we begin that life?
I think the philosophical questions Your Honor mentioned, all those reasons that they're hard, they've been debated, they're important, those are all reasons to return this to the people, because the people should get to debate these hard issues. And this court does not in that kind of a circumstance.
So when does the life of a woman and putting her at risk enter the calculus? Meaning, right now,
Leave it to the
forcing
states,
women
dummy.
who are poor, and that's 75% of the population,
Poor.
and much higher percentage of those women in Mississippi who elect abortions before viability, they are put at a tremendously greater risk of medical complications and ending their life, 14 times greater to give birth to a child full term than it is to have an abortion before viability.
What a selfish woman.
And now the
What an
state is
evil
saying
woman.
to these women, we can choose not only to physically complicate your existence, put you
Stupid.
at medical risk, make you poorer by the choice,
Make you poorer. Give me a
because
break.
we believe what?
It's not a choice, it's a
Now-
child.
The sponsors of this bill, the House
She
bill
just goes on and
in
on. Huh?
Mississippi, said we're doing it because we have new justices.
Nice.
The newest ban that Mississippi has put in place, the 6-week ban, the Senate sponsor said, we're doing it because we have new justices on the Supreme Court.
Decent justices.
Will this institution survive the stench that this creates
You're the stench.
in the public perception that the Constitution and its reading are just political acts?
What an evil, phony woman. Listen to Sotomayor's challenge. You know, all the female-minded liberals were like, oh, yeah, Sonia Sotomayor. And you heard the male man Solicitor General talk common sense and logic. Destroyed her with facts and logic. He's talking about viability because the Supreme Court, as the Justice Samuel Alito, how's the stream going on Odyssey? It looks like it's okay. Samuel Alito said they just came up with this fake stuff, just as though they were coming up with laws. The Supreme Court did. Is she pretty, Hake? No, I don't consider this lady pretty. And I use the term lady loosely. Somebody asked, I wonder what she looked like at 25. Not a pretty face, but it isn't ugly, says Ian. Yeah, she's ugly on the inside. Ugly on the inside. Hake talking over the videos makes me feel alive, says Laura Bibi. Nice. Facts don't care about your feelings. What a mess. I will be reading your super chats, guys, but let me give you more of my bashing against this lady. He was talking about viability because this so-called Supreme Court came up with this idea about, viability. And then they changed the law. They overruled Roe v. Wade with Casey. They didn't uphold Roe v. Wade with Casey, according to what I read. They messed with it and overruled it and then manipulated it and made it even worse. And by the way, it was, I think I heard, Republican appointed justices who upheld Roe v. Wade. Am I choppy on YouTube? Is the stream okay? Press 1 if the stream is okay over there on YouTube. Press 2 if it's really bad. Press 3 if it's a little iffy, but it's okay. I don't know. Somebody said my stream is choppy. Let's see. But anyway, let me tell you more about this evil woman. So that's what he was talking about with viability. Like the Supreme Court, the so-called Supreme Court just made this up out of thin air. Just like they made up out of thin air the notion that, oh, marriage can be not just between a man and a woman. We get to define what marriage is. You don't define what marriage is. Duh. But luckily, the John Roberts guy, I think, who went in favor of same-sex marriage, he went in favor of getting rid of this abortion thing. John Roberts is a rhino chief justice. But this Sonia Sotomayor, evil woman, according to History.com, she talked about the stench. Oh, it sounds political. The state of Mississippi is for making this law because they have new justices. Because they have decent justices. August 8th, 2009, Sonia Sotomayor was sworn in. She falsely swore. She lied when she swore. As an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. Sotomayor was the first Supreme Court justice nominated by sleepy President Barack Obama. Is he sleepy too? Just like Sleepy Joe? Aborted babies are never viable, yeah. Who had taken office the previous January. The choice of a Hispanic woman by the nation's first non-white president, anti-white president, not the first anti-white president though, that's for sure, led to a backlash that set the tone for her confirmation hearings. In particular, a comment she made in 2001 about a wise Latina woman. This woman thinks she's a wise Latina woman. And isn't that redundant anyway? When you say Latina, it means woman, or at least female. With the richness of her experiences being better qualified than being a white male who hasn't lived that life. Nearly every Republican on the Senate Judiciary Committee, all of whom were white men, brought up the comment during her questioning of her. Pundits speculated about Sotomayor's impartiality. She's not impartial. And even accused her of being racist, meaning anti-white. Anti-white. Which she is. She was easily confirmed, though, by a Democrat majority and 9 rhinos of the Senate's 40 Republicans back then. In addition to being the first Hispanic Supreme Court so-called justice, Sotomayor was the 3rd woman named to the bench. Following year, Justice Elena Kagan, not a Christian, I don't think, would become the 4th female appointed by, she too was appointed by Obama. Since her appointment, Sotomayor has been notable for her forceful dissent in several cases regarding racial discrimination, meaning she's an evil woman, as well as siding with the majority in a 5-4 decision that upheld the so-called Affordable Care Act, which is a misnomer. It's Obamacare. This is the quote, or no. This is a lecture she did in 2001. She did a lecture in 2001, according to the failing New York Slimes, at UC Berkeley, University of California in Berkeley, School of Law, back when she was an appeals court judge, right? This is 8 years before she became a so-called Supreme Court justice. Just 8 years. It was published before the spring 2002 issue of Berkeley La Raza Law Journal. La Raza, meaning the racist anti-white Hispanics, right? A symposium issue entitled Raising the Bar, Latino and Latina Presence in the Judiciary and the Struggle for Representation. Crazy, huh? A Latina Judge's Voice was the name of the speech, I guess, by Sonia Sotomayor. On July 14th, 2009, Sotomayor explained her wise Latina comment. According to CBS News, I would hope that a wise Latina woman with the richness of her experiences would more often than not reach a better conclusion than a white male who hasn't lived that life, Sonia Sotomayor said in a speech at a 2001 University of California, Berkeley Law School. She made similar statements at other such events, by the way. She said, quote, I was trying to inspire students to believe their experiences would enrich the legal system. That's what Sonia Sotomayor said back then to explain herself. That doesn't help. I was also trying to inspire them to believe they could become anything they wanted to become, just as I have. You sound just like that Mayra Flores woman. oh, you people working in the cotton fields, picking strawberries and blueberries or whatever, you too can be a congressman or congresswoman, which there's no such thing as a congresswoman. It's a female congressman, and that's a disgrace, honestly. Just like me. What an ego, huh? Slayo Mayor, ego riding high. Yeah, indeed, Mike, over there on YouTube. I'll cover more of what the Washington Compost was saying, but let me get to a call or two here, guys. You can call in 888-775-3773. I just wanted to talk sorry, kids, about Sotomayor, that evil, phony woman. But Jerry is a first-time caller in Texas. Jerry in Texas, how are you doing?
Hey, is this James Hake?
Yes, it is.
What's up, man?
Hey.
I was just curious to something about abortion.
Yeah.
I know you guys are against it, and I'm against it too.
Nice.
But I'm kind of conflicted about it.
Oh, really?
Well, the reason why you talk so much about abortion, and it is an awful thing.
Right.
But y'all never talk about contraception.
I do.
Yourself.
I talk about it.
Do you? Okay, I haven't actually pulled up your stuff. I
no problem. Because
I really don't know what your idea is.
The only reason I know to talk about that is that there's a guy named he's Congressman Stephen King from Iowa. He called out Obamacare because Obamacare subsidized so-called contraception. And that's not good when we have a declining birth rate. That is selfish, it's evil, and although it may not necessarily be killing babies, we need to be having babies, and that's just encouraging selfishness, which makes sex a death thing rather than a life-creating or life-making thing. Because the purpose of sex is for producing life, meaning babies. It's not for it's not all just for the selfish self-indulgence and using one another, but that's what contraception is. Using one another and not suffering the consequences. Not taking responsibility.
Out there, you're not going to be able to stop them from doing it.
Say that again?
You know how I know everybody probably still says it now. If you enforce contraception and protection on your youngsters, whether you do or don't, they're going to do it. I mean, you can't stop them.
You can't stop them from having sex? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's false. That's false, man. I'm serious.
The first time I had sex, I was 11 years old, and nobody knew anything about it.
I know, but there's a lot of people who aren't. I mean, there's a few people who were raised right. You may not have been raised to totally right. But there's a lot of people who haven't had sex before marriage.
I admit my parents didn't look after me the way they should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we bring the culture back, then we can bring back some dignity. Because, they're trying to reduce teen pregnancies and all that, but that's really addressing the symptom. Yeah. We shouldn't be addressing symptoms. We should be addressing the root issue, which is the evil of the heart,
Prevention.
What do you mean by prevention?
Prevention, sexual protection.
No, that's not prevention, man. That's a symptom. You're addressing symptoms.
That's not a symptom.
Wait. What do you mean by prevention again? Say that again.
A symptom is the aftermath. Contraception, protection, sexual protection to protect you from that happening.
Are you talking about condoms and all that stuff?
We don't want to have babies and then kill them. We don't want that.
Right.
So why don't you prevent that? Why don't you want to
prevent babies from even being conceived, but let the people still have sex?
Yeah, from young teenagers.
No, man. No.
No.
Right.
What?
Because what I mean by what I mean by, what were we talking about? Symptoms.
So if you're a 15-year-old girl and you get pregnant because you had sex with a 17-year-old boy, and you get pregnant, is that right? I mean, shouldn't that be prevented right there? And teach our
The prevention is not having the sex in the first place. Raising them right so that they don't have sex in the first place.
And that's my point exactly, because you're not going to be able to stop them from having sex.
Yes, you can.
Especially when one has it for the first time, then he's immediately going to be addicted. Oh, I got to do that again.
Yeah, I've heard. So I imagine so.
Okay, what I was going to say, hold on, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What I was going to say was, back for as long as I can remember, probably, oh, God, I can't remember.
Was it with an older girl when you said...
tell kids,
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Let me interrupt you, though. I'm not that sorry, but do remember what you were about to say. But I want to ask about when you said that you first had sex at 11. Sorry, kids. Was it with an older girl? Was she like 13 or something?
No, she was 14.
She was, yeah. I've heard that most of the time, boys, when they first have sex, it's with an older girl. FYI.
Yeah, and it's because she started it.
Yeah. Anyway, you're laughing. But anyway, remember, I interrupted you. You were about to say something.
You made me lose my train of thought.
I know. But anyway, my point is, it's better for let's say a little girl is like a 13-year-old or 15-year-old, like what you said, is so poorly raised that she ends up having sex out of wedlock and gets pregnant.
And that's where the parents should come in. Hold on, let me just say something real quick.
Okay.
You know how you've heard for a long time. You know, if you tell the teens to use protection, then that means you're giving them permission.
Right.
To have sex. Right.
Yep.
Okay. Well, whether you give them permission or not permission, they're going to do it.
Not necessarily. Not if they're raised right. I mean, in some cases, yes, it's going to happen.
Obviously, I wasn't raised right.
But you don't want to just babies out of wedlock is when I said symptom, babies out of wedlock is a symptom. When you the problem is not the babies out of wedlock. The problem is degenerate parents raising degenerate young people who live degenerate lives. That's the problem. So contraception is not going to solve the degeneracy. That's my point. It's better to have the baby. It's better for the young people to suffer the consequences and face the responsibility than it is to do all this contraception crap. Sorry, kids.
If these young girls are going to have babies and they're going to get pregnant, and they're not going to have abortions, which we don't want that.
Right.
But if they're going to get pregnant, they're all going to end up as single mothers, and that's how everybody's going to be raised.
No, I mean, yes, that is happening because the culture is so debased. But we can turn the culture around. There are I don't know how long you've been listening to the Jesse Lee Peterson show, but
a long time, yeah.
Nice, man.
A number of years.
There are people who have stopped having sex out of wedlock. There are people who have repented.
Those people that are doing that, I'm very proud of.
Yeah, there's people who have even quit smoking pot, and there's people who have repented from being into the homosexual stuff or the lesbian stuff. So there's a lot of lives improving and practices improving. So we can change the culture. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, one more thing.
Yeah.
If you and Jesse both see we need to have more babies, and Jesse even says we need more white babies.
Right.
Which is cool. I guess have some more white babies, but I mean, oh my God, if you're not doing it responsibly, who wants these single mothers raising a butt? Hold on.
Of course.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
Don't we, isn't our population a little high?
No, man, not the white population. We're a shrinking population. It does seem like we're.
The population is sinking, and I think they're the ones that are being more responsible.
I know. Well,
but I mean, I'm not going to talk about another race or anything like that.
Oh,
I'm
I
not
will.
gonna get into that. I don't know.
I understand. But yeah, it's not really responsible to not have kids. It's responsible to go about it in the responsible way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's their parents' jobs to do that, to teach them that, and they're not doing it because they didn't. My parents didn't do it to me.
Yeah.
My parents didn't teach me that kind of responsibility.
That's all right, man. You're turning your life around, right?
I believe I'm giving it a shot.
Nice.
I actually haven't had sex in many years. I'm kind of celibate right now.
Right on. How old are you?
I'm 48.
Nice, man. It's great to hear from you.
I was when I was in my teens and my young 20s. I was a total whore.
Yeah, whoremonger. The women are the whores. The men are the whoremongers.
Yeah, how are you going to say that?
Yeah.
A whore maker.
Yeah.
Club maker.
Well,
and I know now how bad that was.
And you're white.
How do we?
Huh? And you're white, right?
Yeah, I'm a white guy.
Yeah, so see what happened? Like
White man, excuse me.
See what happened? Like you had all this sex and no kids to show for it. Or did you have kids?
No, yeah.
So we need to return to the morals.
Right now I'm regretting it. I don't have a family. I'm really all alone. I don't have a family or anything. So
yeah.
I never, it's just because I never fell in love.
Well, don't get into regret because you don't necessarily... You may have been spared not to have, quote unquote, fallen in love because that's not love that you're falling into, you know? So you probably, you dodged a bullet in that sense. But who knows? Who knows what life may bring? Because Trump made babies at an older age than 48, I think. Let's see, how old is Trump now? He's 75, something like that?
I think a man could probably be any age and still have babies with a woman that's young enough to have them.
Right. Yeah.
Isn't that right?
I think that's just about right.
Oh, a woman can only go so far, but a man can do it his whole life.
Right. Yeah. All things being healthy. Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Long as you're not ugly as hell.
Say that again?
Long as you're not ugly as hell.
That's pretty funny. It's great to hear from you, Jerry. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, you too, man. It's nice talking to you.
Yeah. Call me again.
All right, you be cool.
All right. You as well. Nice.
All right, later.
Bye. Wasn't that nice? Oh, man. You guys feel like hearing from Richard in San Francisco, California? Richard in San Francisco, California, on the line. How are you doing?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Oh, cool.
So what do you think of this Roe versus Wade? They struck it down.
I am pumped up about it. I can hardly contain myself. I'm excited.
Where do you live?
I live in California.
That doesn't affect you.
I know. Well, it doesn't affect me because I'm not hopefully going to have any sex with any woman who's going to get an abortion, kill the baby in the womb. Hopefully.
Well, I mean, it doesn't change California law that abortion is still legal.
It's, quote unquote legal.
But you know
2
what
hour
it does
shame.
Do?
Say that again?
What it does do?
What's it do?
You didn't stop abortion in those states that are going to ban it. You just stopped safe abortion.
Oh, no, it's stopping some abortions.
No, that's what I said. It doesn't stop all abortions. It just stops safe abortions.
Quote unquote safe for who? It's not safe for the baby. Not safe for the man whose baby's getting killed. What about the reproductive rights of the man who doesn't want his baby killed by some evil woman, an evil doctor?
Let me ask you something. What Supreme Court law was ever made for a man's reproductive organs?
There's no such thing as a Supreme Court law. Why don't you answer my question now? What about the so-called reproductive rights of the man not to have his baby killed by some evil woman and evil fake doctor?
I mean, when a man can have a baby and come out of his reproductive organs, we can find out, right?
What happened to the man's reproductive rights? The rights of him to have a child that stays alive, not get killed by a woman. You didn't answer my question.
Yeah, I did, because does the baby come out of the man's reproductive organ?
Nope. That's
Okay,
a dumb question.
Does,
are you that dumb that you don't know how it works?
It's not dumb. You just
Yes, it is. It's dumb.
A stupid statement.
No, you made a stupid statement.
A men doesn't have babies come out of their reproductive organ.
Well, they kind of do.
They kind of don't.
He puts the baby in the woman, and the woman gets so selfish that she's like, I want a career. I don't want to take care of this thing.
Women can't have careers?
According to the evil Sotomayor, I'm 14 times more likely to die if I carry this baby to term than if I kill the baby. What an evil woman, huh?
Well,
so you don't care about the men whose children are being murdered out from under their noses.
Not at all.
Yeah, I know. I'm not surprised.
Why would I?
Because you wouldn't. You would if you were a decent man who was logical and
you care more about
fair-minded.
Personal decision.
Huh? What?
You care more about somebody else's personal decision.
What's somebody else's personal decision?
So, when they go to a Planned Parenthood, do they call you the mother and the doctor, or is it just the mother and the doctor?
It's the mother and the so-called doctor. The mother who doesn't want to be a real mother.
In no way do they ever say, you know what, let's get Hake in here so that way he can give his 2 cents in.
Would you support murder of anybody that you don't know just because you don't know them?
You didn't answer my question.
You didn't ask a question. Would you support murder? Would you support murder?
Do they call Hake when they go to the doctor?
No, they don't have to call Hake.
Okay. So you don't have any personal control over that, right?
Yes, I do, because we men...
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. We men...
have control over
we men of the country tell women...
We men of the country?
Yes, we men of the country tell women...
You want to try that word salad one more time?
We men of the country. I'm going to put you on hold if you don't shut up, Richard.
Go ahead, finish your word salad.
We men of the country tell women they don't have a right to kill children.
Well, no, you only told certain states they don't.
No. I'm not on the Supreme Court. I'm not talking about the Supreme Court.
No, you only told some states.
No, the Supreme Court only sent it back to the states. But I'm talking about the role of men. Men tell all women, you don't have a right to kill the babies in your womb.
And they still do.
I know, they still do because they're evil and dummies like you support them.
You don't tell women what to do.
Oh, yes, I do.
I mean, you say it, but they don't listen to you.
Right. That's the evil in the world.
No, that's a personal decision.
It's not a personal decision.
It's pretty much it.
It pretty much is a personal decision to kill a baby. Yeah, it's a personal decision to kill a baby. It makes a lot of sense, Richard.
So that's why you're upset about it.
What's that?
You don't understand it. That's why you're upset about it.
Oh, I understand it. I understand it, and you understand it. We both understand that selfish women kill babies.
Well, do you have any reason why they do it?
Are you upset about Roe v. Wade being struck down?
It doesn't really affect me. I don't live in a state where it's going to affect me.
Are you upset about it being struck down?
It doesn't bother me one way or another.
So you're not upset about it?
No. I live in a state where abortion is legal.
And you support killing the babies?
I support Planned Parenthood.
Yep. Which is killing the babies.
Okay.
Can you admit it's killing the babies?
I think women should have affordable health care.
Can you admit it's killing the babies?
Can I admit it's killing the baby? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Can you admit that women and doctors are killing babies?
Women and doctors are killing babies? Are they up for murder charges?
Can you admit that women and doctors are killing babies?
Sure, I'll admit it.
Okay.
They're killing babies.
Thank you, Richard.
Now what?
Now you are a simp.
Why? Because
Why?
I don't agree with your position on making a woman have a baby if she's not either
Nobody
ill prepared.
nobody made her have sex.
Okay, so why are most teen pregnancies happening in red states?
I have no idea what you're talking about. It's probably mostly
Really?
blacks.
Really, red states lead the nation in teen pregnancies.
Well, thank you for sharing,
Oh,
Richard.
maybe
Thank you
it's
for
because
sharing,
they don't
Richard.
Maybe it's because they don't teach safe sex.
There's no such thing as safe sex.
Really? So using
Yeah.
a condom isn't, even though a condom isn't 100%.
Condoms
it's
are
about
degenerate.
99%.
Condoms are degenerate.
Doesn't matter if it's degenerate.
Yes, it does.
Why?
Why? Because you
Yeah,
don't
why do
you
you
don't
think
debase
it
the
matters?
culture like that. We have a declining
So-
population, buddy.
So you have a declining population, and you think the best way to do that is to have an ill-prepared child, let's say somebody under the age of 15, who ends up giving birth to a kid who can't take care of it, who then is
Oh, she can
strained
take care
on
of it.
society.
She can take care of the
Where
kid.
does she work?
She can take care of the kid.
Where
She
does
can
she
find work.
She's 13.
That's her problem.
Oh, so now it's her problem.
It was always her problem, Richard. Stop being a simp.
Okay, so,
You make no sense.
So now you want the government to take care of the baby.
No, she can take care of the baby.
Yes, she's 13.
She can take care of the baby.
You know how stupid you sound? What 13-year-old?
You're the one
can get a job?
who sounds stupid.
Really?
Yes.
Oh man, I didn't know we were 12. I know what you are, but not in my.
Yeah,
Come on,
you're.
man, grow up.
How old are you?
Older than you.
You're older than me. How old are you?
Older than you.
How old are you?
Does it matter?
Are
that
you
I
a
need to
woman
tell
that you
my
can't
age?
admit your age?
I don't need to tell you my age. It doesn't change anything.
Are you in your 50s?
No.
Are you in your 40s?
Again, does it matter?
Are you a woman that you can't tell your age?
It doesn't matter.
All
Age
right.
doesn't mean anything. Just because you're older.
You
doesn't
claim
mean
that you're older than
wiser.
me,
It
and
just-
you can't
it
admit that
just
you're in your
means that
40s.
you live
Are you in your
longer.
40s, Richard?
Worry about it.
Why are you embarrassed? Why are you acting like a girl?
No, it doesn't matter. That's the whole point.
Are you in
It
your
doesn't
40s?
matter. Is this a question about age or is this a question about abortion? Pick one.
All right. Goodbye, Richard.
Way to simp out.
Okay. What a psycho. I cracked. Jeff in Louisiana. Jeff, how are you doing in Louisiana?
Pretty good. How about yourself, Hake?
Doing well, thank you.
Man, I didn't really want to have a conversation. I just want to share a piece of information.
Okay.
How prepared these companies were. As soon as Roe v. Wade got overturned, Chase Bank sent a memo to employees. If abortion is not legal in their state, they will pay for their travel to go to a different state of their choice
Wow.
to get an abortion.
What companies are these?
Chase Bank.
Really? Do you remember the source where you got this?
I was reading online. I had to pull up the article, but I seen it online. But no, they will travel. Pay from say that it's their choice go to Hawaii.
Oh
They
yeah,
pay to go to Hawaii.
I'm seeing it. J.P. Morgan Chase, according to CNBC headline, tells employees the bank will pay for travel to states that allow abortion. What an evil company, huh?
You think interest rates are high now?
I know, huh?
I mean, this is just screwed up, man. I know. I had a friend that just pulled $25,000 out of their bank account this morning, shut it down.
Wow.
Because everybody's getting away from them now. I mean, there's several people that already pulled all their money in business accounts and personal accounts and everything out of the bank.
Yeah.
Because of that right there. And that's just going to be the first one. You watch a lot of companies are coming out with that crap.
In a question and answer webpage linked to the June 1st memo, June 1st, the bank directly addressed whether it was covering abortion as well as out-of-state travel to have the so-called procedure. Our healthcare plans have historically covered travel benefits for certain covered services that would require travel, J.P. Morgan said. Beginning in July, we will expand this benefit to include all covered services that can only be obtained far from your home, which would include legal abortion. And that's a quote. And that memo was first obtained by CNBC. Wow.
I've never heard of them paying for somebody to travel for cancer treatment or heart treatment.
Yeah.
But they pay to kill a baby. I guess they figure it saves them money in maternity leave.
Yeah, that is wild.
Yeah, man. Well, I just want to tell you that 'cause I know y'all was keeping up on that stuff. I seen it this morning, just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But man,
man.
Y'all have.
That's an evil company.
Yeah, man. It is. I closed my account there 2 months ago, and just because of policies, and not because of that, but I'm glad I did now because I won't bankrupt them because of that.
Yeah. Wow,
man,
that's
I
wild.
share that, man. Y'all have a good one.
All right, you too, Jeff. Appreciate the tip. That is crazy. Quid pro quo abortion. What a sick world. Let me get to Shane in Newfoundland, Canada. Shane, how are you doing?
All is well, my friend. How are you?
Doing well, too. Thank you.
Yes, man, I have so much to say between, like, the Chase Bank stuff and Richard beforehand.
I know.
Richard just sounded like one of them weak, simpy beta males that lets women go their whole lives without dealing with any consequence.
Yeah.
And will let them have bloody murder on their hands and never pipe up.
You know, he's the same guy who would take his child to a drag queen show if his child did not know if he was a real boy or a girl, felt like a girl, or if he was a boy and stuff like that.
Man, when I was a child, I thought I was Superman. Should I be fucking, labeled like plastered in comic books?
Yeah, I know. What a mess. But we appreciate the call.
The whole Chase Bank stuff too is just like if they want going carting people across state lines, as the media like to put it with the Rittenhouse stuff.
I know, huh?
What if they want to go carting people across state lines to commit murder? I think that if they return to the state that they left, the state should prosecute them for murder.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
right?
it's so funny because you're right. Kyle Jack Bauer, John Wick Rittenhouse, John Wayne. He crossed state lines, but I mean he lives like half an hour from Kenosha, Wisconsin, or something like that. Maybe 15 minutes, 15 miles. And I don't even think that the gun actually even crossed state lines. They were just repeating fake news, and he did it to defend what's good, to protect his own life and to protect businesses and the lives of innocent people. And he also had some medical stuff to help anybody, first aid. Whereas these people are going, like you said, specifically to kill the babies. So wrong.
If they're going crossing like state or national lines to go do that stuff, when they return to their home, have the cops waiting for them, be like, yeah, you just you went somewhere else to commit murder or do something bad. Yeah, that doesn't sit well with us. You either stay there or you go to prison now.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, stay over there if you want to kill your babies in these liberal states.
Yeah, you want to kill your baby and you have to go from Texas or Alabama or somewhere else to go kill it, like in California or Canada, you stay in California or Canada.
Yeah, that's a good word, man.
Yeah.
And the rent's not cheap in California either.
No, it's not. And then the bit where Richard was saying, like, it's just like, oh, then you want the government to take care of the baby. It's just like, no, the woman made, like, when people have sex, like, they make their choice.
Yep. Exactly.
Sex is for procreation. That's your choice. The choice doesn't come afterwards.
Yep.
If you're trying to make a choice afterwards, that's post hoc rationalizations and trying to damage control stuff because you're too weak and simple to take care of your own life and what you've done.
Very true, man. Yeah. You remind me of Richard Spencer, a guy whom I've had on the Hake Report. I've been on his show. He's this white guy who...
I know who Richard Spencer is.
Yeah. Richard Spencer was like, abortions have brought down crime, but I don't know, or, limited the expansion of the criminal population at least, right? But I don't think that that's true. I think that it has expanded, it's made the criminal population worse because these women who have their abortions, they already have kids. And think of how they're treating their children who survive their pregnancy, you know?
Yeah, I feel you there. It's just like, is not making anything worse. If anything, it's just like, it's decriminalizing a crime.
Yeah, that's so true.
Right? Like it is kind of increasing the crime, but it's just like, it's not on the books, this crime, because it's just like, shove the vacuum up in it.
Very true, man. Yeah, Richard asked me, so are those women and doctors being charged with murder? As if the courts uphold what's moral anymore, you know? And it is a crime, and calling it legal doesn't make it less of a crime against humanity.
People are such followers and bootlickers, man. Like, they don't want to have a position themselves. They don't want to take it upon themselves to just be like, well, this authority says so that means it's right. It's just like, no. Go back to the Nuremberg trials. Be like, the Führer and the Commandant told me to do this, so it was morally right. It's just like, didn't work then, won't work now. Yeah,
very true, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Shane. It's good to hear from you, man.
Good to hear from you, too. I like listening to you.
All right.
Take care now.
You as well. You know, that reminds me of Kevin Howe over there on the YouTube chat. Says, sex is supposed to be a sacred thing for the power of creation in man, but it's been perverted for bestial pleasure. And that may be true. I mean, it's certainly like how perverted it's become is very true. It reminds me of that Bible story. I've told you this Bible story before, and Justin Vollmar has sung about it in a song called Spilled Upon the Ground. Because there was a guy whose brother died in the Bible. This was way back in like Genesis, the book of Genesis. And so you would think that the Jews would be like, oh yeah, we're not for abortion either. But a bunch of them are for it. It's crazy, huh? But this guy's brother died, leaving behind a widow who did not have any children. So back in those days, it was the obligation of the brother to marry the widow and to have children for the late husband so that they would have, you know, a legacy or, you know, children, offspring. But this brother, the surviving brother, had sex with the girl, the wife, the widow, but didn't go through with everything. Pulled out, if you will. Sorry, kids. And spilled it on the ground. And God saw that as evil and killed him. I remember reading this, if I remember correctly. God killed him for that. And now he's letting everybody live, even though they're doing the same and worse. But everybody's, yeah, it's gross. But everybody's like, it's more like a slow death. The living Walking Dead. I'm chuckling because of the reaction in the chat. Terrible, huh? It's so wrong. Over there on Odyssey, somebody linked a June 15th article from NPR. Florida's new abortion law violates religious freedom, a synagogue's lawsuit says. Terrible. What is wrong with them? A new Florida law prohibiting abortion after 15 weeks with some exceptions violates religious freedom rights of Jews, in addition to the state's constitution privacy protections, a synagogue claims in a lawsuit. Congregation Lador Vador of Boynton Beach contends the law that takes effect July 1st violates Jewish teachings, which state abortion is required if necessary to protect the health, mental, or physical well-being of a woman. I know, they pretend that abortion protects women's mental health. I am shaking my head. It's a disgrace. Anyway, I'll read more on the so-called Supreme Court and the Washington Compost after the break, and also get to that shameful lesbian kiss in the movie that I'm not going to show, but I'm going to show a sign that they were going to fast forward through it in Oklahoma, but they decided not to. Ridiculous. Anyway, time for some music, though. We're at the top of the hour. This is the hidden cameras. I do disavow. Only a few more days of the hidden cameras until, like, next, I think Friday, we will be free of the hidden cameras. Anyway, I'll see you soon in a couple of minutes here. Enjoy, or not. Leave the room, kids. All right, bye.
Life with the Bboy. Life with the Bboy. Life with the Bboy. Life with the Bboy. Zoo. My sentence is life to the eye goes blue. Come back to Bboy. Hope for the American. What up the Bboy? Hope for the American. Bet you by Bboy. Hope for the American. Spy at night through blinds on family dim. A tear in his eye, the dire goes through. What up the Bboy? Hope for the American, convicted Bboy. Hope for the American, what up the Bboy? Hope for the American, he sways with his charm, and I fold at his feet. Bright to slide in an honest way. If I was born to the arms of his ill, he'd grip me and cry in an old-fashioned way. A big boy. Hope for the American, protect the Bboy. Hope for the American, what up the Bboy? Hope for the American.
So good, I guess. Well, I don't know what they're saying, and I'm kind of glad of that. Play this at the protest, not one person will be left. Terrible. Sometimes catchy. Sometimes catchy. Those guys. Maybe next week we will get some Striper. Next Friday. Hey, I can get down to this as Kilo Alpha 1. I'm digging it. Well, that's kind. Disavow away, LOL, says Lady C. Sal. I know, and I have to. Do I owe you guys an apology? Lord, it starts off bad. Anyway. What a mess. Terrible. Okay. So, let me read some super chats. I believe that some super chats did come in over. Turd Ferguson says, now you are all gay. No. Let me read some super chats, guys. Streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Wow, a lot came in. Pablo says, best week ever. Based SCOTUS, meaning Supreme Court of the United States, and I'm moving from New Jersey to Texas. Tejas. Right on, Pablo. I wish you well. And let's turn Texas red rather than what it is. Nice. John WX25 says, you run a great show, but 3 hours has to happen. Oh, man, I don't know, John WX25. But thank you. We need more Volmar, says Esoteric. Thank you. I agree. Is that the same Esoteric? Danism? Esoteric Danism. Anybody know what that is? John WX25 says, Scummoyer. Scummoyer. I think that's Sotomayor. Is the prime example of an evil lib parasite. Just wicked to the core. You know, I think you're right about that. Sui Anon says there is zero authority in the woman, rib. And thank you for the generous super chat. You may be right. You may be right. Double White with the super chat on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Women want to kill babies because they can't handle any more suffering, quote unquote, because they have evil hearts, even though they already made the choice to make a baby. Yeah, I know. It is, that's why the women who don't hate men, that's what made me pause. Because the women who don't hate men, they can, it's kind of anyway, nice, right on. They can handle suffering and responsibility and stuff, you know? Anyway, Based America First with the super chat on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Stephen Jacobs, PhD, University of Chicago, argued his thesis, When Life Begins, over 5 years, interviewed thousands of worldwide biologists. Many didn't want to talk to him because they overwhelmingly agree it's at conception, but avoided political incorrectness. Wow. Thank you for that heads up. Stephen Jacobs, PhD, University of Chicago, argued his thesis, When Life Begins. Was he saying it begins over 5 years old? No, I don't think so. Interviewed thousands of worldwide biologists. Many didn't want to talk to him because they overwhelmingly agree. Life begins at conception. Duh! Based America First with another super chat says, Sotomayor only states it's hotly contested, meaning like the When Life Begins is hotly contested because so-called progressives, meaning the communists, desperately want it not to be at conception. The party of science, unless the actual science disagrees with their ideology. Thank you, Based America First. And that is so true. Makes me want to spit, but I will not spit in this studio. And let me go back to this Washington Compost series of headlines. Washington Compost, December 2nd, 2021. The Supreme Court might overturn Roe. This is back several months back. It took decades of scorched earth conservative politics to get here. Yeah, okay. The liberal justices repeatedly warned that this case could destroy the court itself. Consider the dramatic and repeated warnings by the liberal justices during the oral arguments in Dobbs, which is this case, in which was argued by a man against Sotomayor, that a ruling upholding Mississippi's abortion ban would be seen by the public as a political, not a legal decision. Well, how about it took politics to get the law back in order, right? How about that? As if so-called same-sex marriage wasn't a political rather than a legal decision. As if Obamacare and DACA, did the Supreme Court uphold DACA? I don't know. But the courts upheld DACA. But the so-called Supreme Court made imaginary same-sex marriage to be a real thing, which is not. And Also, Roe v. Wade was a political decision. They actually came up with, they like specified what things should be with regard to when you can have an abortion. Just the Supreme Court just made up stuff as if they know what they're talking about. That's what they did in Roe v. Wade and with Casey, Planned Parenthood versus Casey, I guess. To overrule precedent on account of political pressure. It's not political pressure. It's a good argument that the man made, that male Solicitor General from Mississippi, based. Hat tip to Trump. Hat tip to Bond, Rebuilding Men. Hat tip to Clarence Thomas. Very nice. Very nice. But here's Cry More Washington Compost. Here's what they're saying. To overrule precedent on account of political pressure would result in a loss of confidence in the judiciary. As if there's confidence in the judiciary. We're a very divided country. Most of the people are not happy with the judiciary. They're not happy with the Congress. Either because the people are so evil that they wish that the judiciary was even more evil, that the Congress was more evil, or they don't like how evil that they are. And subvert the court's legitimacy. All you people ever do is subvert the court's legitimacy. Sotomayor noted the sponsors of the bill themselves acknowledged they had written the bill to cater to the new Trump-appointed conservative justices. And didn't that man who argued this case reference Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who admitted that this Roe v. Wade thing wasn't right? Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who supported abortion, you know, that evil woman? I think she was the second woman on the Supreme Court behind Sandra Day O'Connor, who had the decency to quit. I think she had the decency to quit, unlike Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She said, will this institution survive the stench that this creates in the public perception that the Constitution and its readings are just political acts? They are, especially from you, evil, wise Latina woman. And I use the term wise loosely because that's her word. I disavow. She's not wise. By politicizing the courts, conservatives. Yeah, conservatives are the ones politicizing the courts. Give me a break. Have won big policy victories in gun rights, campaign finance, labor, curtailing voting, among others. They might win on abortion too, we did. But pursuing these policy victories at all costs, they may end up undermining the very institution that they have worked to control. And they want to pack the courts. I saw this tweet from Christopher Boozy, Bouzy. Expand the Supreme Court before The Handmaid's Tale becomes a reality. What a simp. Who is this guy? One of my male... Oh, it's a black guy? Oh, gosh. Dumb liberal black male. When I was 9, I started coding on a Mattel Aquarius computer. I developed several products in my 20s, 30s, and then in 2018 I launched botsentinel.com. Well, you have no sense. You may be good about that, but you have no sense when it comes to abortion, dummy. Handmaid's Tale. Cringe. That's a grown adult black male saying that. My liberal former Christian Azusa Pacific University professor quote tweeted that guy and tagged me on it. Supposed Christian, but he thinks, oh, it's Handmaid's Tale to force birth on the women. Give me a break. We were talking about if the public views the court as nothing more than politicians in robes, which is what Sotomayor is, and all these other people, these rhinos, except for Clarence Thomas, he's a solid guy, then the Supreme Court itself will have committed legitimacy suicide. As Justice Stephen G. Breyer, who's not a Christian, by the way. He's so girly. Oh, my gosh. warns, this is what kills us as an American institution. Can you believe how girly Justice Stephen Breyer is, who's getting replaced by Ketanji Onyeka Brown-Jackson? Oh my gosh. I don't look forward to that. Well, I kind of do. Because she's, entertainment. But it's not good. It's really not good. It's not a joke. It's a joke, but it's evil. The Supreme Court is taking suspect science seriously is another headline from the Washington Compost, December 15th of last year. Supreme Court is taking suspect science seriously. Conservative groups have worked for years for that. Various organizations fight science by peddling doubt. This reminds me of what Base America First sent me about Stephen Jacobs showing that life begins at conception. Biologists worldwide know it to be true, but they don't want to admit it because of politics. Politics, cowardice, intimidation. Same thing, I think, with the that click is on point, Hake. Thank you. The climate hysteria. I don't know, but I think so. And I may talk about the vax hysteria, too. Various organizations fight science by peddling doubt and discord on topics such as climate change, COVID-19, and abortion. It's an analysis in the Washington Compost by Allison Gash and Joshua C. Wilson. Earlier this month, this is December, right? As the Supreme Court heard oral arguments over Mississippi's restrictive abortion law in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health, the justices gave serious consideration to dubious science. This was not the first time. And what science are they talking about? Well, the Supreme Court back in 1973, I think, when they decided Roe v. Wade, they said, it's not up to us to decide when life begins. But science says life begins at conception. For decades, right-wing funders and advocates have invested in institutions and individual researchers who will question scientific consensus. Consensus is not scientific, okay? All right. And advance unproven theories. The resulting misinformation, this is Washington Compost, has distorted discussions of climate change, COVID-19, and other issues. COVID-19 is the globalist buzzword for the China virus. The news media, the White House, Congress, executive agencies, and many other institutions have launched initiatives to correct the record and improve public understanding, meaning they don't want you to see the truth. They want you to accept the settled science. For years, partisans have been fighting over whether accepted science should guide decisions on thorny policy issues such as climate change, vaccines, contraception, partisan gerrymandering. Conservative policymakers regularly dismiss scientific findings as fake news. Much of the time it is, I say. Faith-based science, Hake, says Blark Blark. Yeah. When battles over laws touching on these subjects reach the courts, judges aren't necessarily equipped to discern which scientific claims are reliable and which are disreputable assertions. These are the same people who call transgenders by the wrong pronoun just to kiss up to them. And they think it's science. Oh, science says if you kiss up to the transgenders, they'll be happier and less likely to commit suicide. Oh, that's treating symptoms. You're not getting to the root issue. Roe v. Wade, the landmark abortion rights case, established a woman's right, no such thing, to abortion before viability. Viability, the point at which a fetus, meaning a baby, unborn baby, could survive outside the uterus, which is generally considered 23 or 24 weeks of pregnancy. Mississippi's law bans abortion after 15 weeks. In Dobbs' oral arguments, attorneys and justices debated whether viability was an objectively meaningful line. They came up with it arbitrarily. Arguing for abortion clinics that are challenging the law, attorney Julie Reichelman, probably not a Christian, called the viability a principled line because it is objectively verifiable and doesn't require the court to resolve philosophical issues at stake. How about you leave it to the states? Because the local men are more trustworthy than the feds. It's a fact, I say. Science created a mediocre cold in Wuhan, says Mike Gibson. Yeah, these people aren't for what's right. They don't know it. They don't know what they're talking about. But they have this whole apparatus of liberal scientists, liberal academia, liberal media, liberal politicians, liberal fake judges who are not for what's right. They're the most politicized people. You remember in the Trump with the Trump thing, they said, arguably, you sold your country out. Some liberal black male judge said that to the one like nationalist guy who was the national security advisor. And they said, oh, you carried a Trump flag. These are judges in courts. You carried a Trump flag. That means into the Capitol building, right? That means that you are not for America. You are for Trump and forget about America. That's called putting words in people's mouth, fake judge. But they want to pretend like we're the ones politicizing the world. They're politicizing the media. I mean, the news. So fake. So wrong. Anyway, that's probably enough of that. Is it? I feel like I want to read more of this. Let me see. Let me see if I can get this thing to pull up the archive of it, because it's obnoxious. Because I want to just kind of reiterate what this guy, the based guy, said. It's ridiculous how many ads they have, even on the, this is the archive website anyway. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Science in the viability line. Roe v. Wade, the landmark abortion rights case, established a woman's right to an abortion before viability. That's artificial. You don't have a right. Okay, so we covered that. Mississippi Solicitor General, the man, argued that science wasn't relevant. Exactly, it's not. When Justice Sonia Sotomayor questioned whether there was any evidence documenting viability before 23 or 24 weeks, this Mississippi Solicitor General, Scott Stewart, argued that the problem with viability isn't the science so much. Rather, for the court, it's that viability is not tethered to anything in the Constitution, in history, or tradition. And I mentioned, and I played that in the clip that I played earlier last hour. The court's conservative majority seemed to agree. John Roberts, the Rhino, downplayed the 15-week ban because it was not a dramatic departure from viability being 23, 24 weeks as opposed to 15, although considerable developmental milestones separate a 15-week-old fetus from one able to survive on its own, so claims the Washington Compost. So they're saying, oh, you can kill the baby at 15 weeks, just not at 23, 24. Samuel Alito Jr. said that if any secular philosophers and bioethicists believe the rights of personhood began before viability, those opinions should help guide the court's decision. Nice, huh? Samuel Alito Jr. Fetal pain and fringe science. In response to the argument that viability can be objectively established, anti-abortion advocates have championed marginalized science, they say. Marginalized science. That's a new one. Stewart argued that it was time to reassess abortion law given the last 30 years of advancement in medicine, science, and all of those things. When asked which medical advancements he meant, he offered fetal pain. Sotomayor quickly noted the claims of fetal pain lack scientific rigor and professional acceptance because the professionals don't accept this. Obviously, a gross minority of doctors who believe fetal pain exists before 24 of 25 weeks. It's a huge minority. What do you mean? That doesn't that sound, a huge minority, doesn't that sound like a oxymoron? She is an ox and a moron. Not one well-founded in science at all. That's a small fringe of doctors believe that pain could be experienced. Doesn't mean that there's been that much of a difference in the past 30 years. There's been plenty of difference. Stewart eventually abandoned the claim after a prolonged dispute, leaving Sotomayor's question about what has changed in science unanswered. Plenty has changed in science. Back in the 70s, the gaze was considered mental illness. Today, science says gay is not a mental illness. So there's plenty that has changed, suckers. Both for the better and worse. Can courts save science, or can science save courts? Science is increasingly politicized, and they are the ones politicizing it. Social science, which is not science, suggests there's no neutral judges, I guess, or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's enough of that. I just wanted to cover that thing. Sotomayor. She just wants to kill the babies. What a sick woman. She just pretends to care about the women. Oh, they're 14 times more likely to die if they carry the baby to term. Let me cover this fake thing, this evil thing, this gay kiss. I don't want to say the word. I've been saying it too much, kids. Evil thing. This is a quote shared by Commie Nonsense Network, CNN. Quote, the management of this theater discovered after booking Lightyear that there is a same-sex kissing scene. Lesbians, I think. Within the first 30 minutes of the Pixar movie. It's a Disney movie. We will do all we can to fast forward through that scene, but it might not be exact. That's what a sign posted at a movie theater in Oklahoma said, warning about that so-called same-sex kiss in the Disney/Pixar film Lightyear, named after Buzz Lightyear. You know, the guy from Toy Story way back in the day? Not that far back. What was I, in 8th grade when it came out? I don't know. That's a ways back. The notice outside the 89er Theater in Kingfisher cautioned parents about a scene that depicts two female characters sharing a brief kiss. Gross! After this sign stirred widespread debate online and in the community, it went viral. You know, the lynch mob went after them. Owners of the theater told CNN that the notice was removed and that the scene had not been censored in any showings. Shameful. Cowards. Shouldn't even, well, anyway. I was going to say shouldn't even show the movie, but make your money. Take the sinner's money and use it for good. Several countries, including Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, UAE, have banned Lightyear from theaters over its inclusion of the same-sex so-called kiss. Disgusting. And I have this clip. This is a news clip from CNN affiliate KTUL. Oklahoma Theater warns viewers of controversial scene in Lightyear, but they removed the warning under pressure, and you'll hear these mothers all for it, going right along with it, poo-pooing the ever-increasing degeneracy. And one of them says, there's all kinds of families. I accept all kinds of families. It's not a family, woman. But they still took their children to it. Listen to this.
An Oklahoma movie theater reversed course after a warning sign was posted about Pixar's new film Lightyear. The sign said a theater in Kingfisher would fast forward through a scene showing a female character kissing her same-sex partner. Zach Rail has reaction to the post and why the owners changed their mind.
This is the sign that 89ers Theater had up. Big, bold letters warning customers of a same-sex kiss in the new Pixar movie, Lightyear. It goes on to say, quote, "We will do all that we can to fast forward through that scene. It might not be exact." The scene in question briefly shows one of the female characters kissing her female partner. Tonight, the owner, who declined to talk on camera, tells us they took the sign down and never actually fast-forwarded through any showing of the movie.
Weak.
Jill Stever reacted to seeing the sign that was up. She brought her 2 sons to see the new movie and says that she had no problem with the scene.
Watching it, it was no big deal. It was like 2 seconds, maybe like 1 second if you were really paying attention.
Lily Giles also brought her 5-year-old to see the film and agrees.
I thought it was fine. I'm fine with all kinds of different families.
But Giles says that she can see why the theater put up the sign in the first place.
I think they just wanted to be honest with people.
Film has been banned in 14 other countries because of that scene. Many are Muslim-majority nations say it's a violation of media content standards.
Yes, it is. Sick. Flat Sabbath says, "You seem like a Lightyear crowd." Take that back. Take that back. Is that a single mother? I wonder. Yeah, it's a good question, Esoteric. I'm fine with all kinds of families. Shut up. All single moms, says Jacob34. Well, you never know, because the husband could be away working. The father could be working. And then the mother, out from under his nose, the father says, "Don't take my kids to that movie." And then the mother is like, "Oh, let's go. Come on. Just don't tell your father." Evil. I accept all kinds of families. That's not a family. That's no kind of family. All women, says, all women, says Billy Bob. Yeah. And, of course, Richard from San Francisco. Shout out to Richard from San Francisco. He called me a simp for, like, hanging up on him. He's like, simp away. Whatever, man. Isn't that a shame? I think it was I think those were POC moms in this movie, too. Were they? Robert Lee says he's a Christian. Good thing I'm a Christian Islamist. Nah. Don't be like that. By the way, shout out to the Facebook crew. Are you guys there? I don't really see the Facebook crew there. Say something, Facebook crew. I wonder if I'm connected. Yeah, I think I am. It's ridiculous. The character in Lightyear is a super boss black woman who is 10 times better than Buzz. Misandrist level 2, says the real Tim Scott, not to be confused with the Rhino Senator Tim Scott. That's not good. Let me go back and read a little bit more, perhaps, from this Florida's new abortion law violates religious freedom. Ridiculous, said this synagogue's lawsuit. I mentioned this toward the end of hour 1 of the Hake report here, about 35 minutes ago. St. Petersburg, Florida, new Florida law prohibiting abortion after 15 weeks, nice, with some exceptions, violates religious freedom rights of Jews, in addition to the state constitution's privacy protections. Oh, as long as you kill in private, we can't invade your privacy. It's between a woman and her doctor. Duh. Lawsuit filed by the congregation Lador Vador of Boynton Beach, I mentioned this already, contends the law takes effect July 1st, violates Jewish teachings somehow. Certainly not Genesis, which which state abortion is required if necessary to protect the health, mental, or physical well-being of the woman. And I mocked how they pretend that abortion helps women's mental health. No, it doesn't. It makes them worse because they don't get away with it. And then you know how guilty women are. They judge and plague themselves with it. You're not supposed to do that, ladies. Oh, okay. Tim Scott was speculating on that. He's too old for Lightyear. Plus, he wouldn't watch a movie like that anyway. They get guilt-ridden. We've heard in church services, even here at Bond, women, old ladies, still plagued with false guilt over having killed their baby. It ruins women's mental health, says Luca. You may be right. I mean, they're already judging themselves falsely all kinds of ways and judging everybody else. It's so judgmental. Wrongly judging, too. I mean, in some ways, they can sniff out weakness, but they judge. And then they're a mess. They just kill their consciences. I really think that that's what has expanded the cruelty that you see and viciousness and inhumanity that you see in the black community, the criminal class of the black community, you know? Because the mothers who've been getting abortions, think about how they treat the children who survive. Or treat themselves. As such, the act prohibits Jewish women from practicing their faith free of government intrusion, and this violates their privacy rights and religious freedom, says the lawsuit. What kind of a religion is that? True religion that God our Father accepts is to look after orphans and widows in their distress and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. That's what true religion is. So you fake religion people over in Florida at Congregation Lador Vador, Boynton Beach, you can get out of my country. Lawsuit adds that people who do not share the religious views reflected in the act will suffer. No, you won't. You'll be better off for it. Women who have the babies and then that raise the babies, they get such an ego high off of the baby. They love the baby. Or think that they love it, you know? They're like so happy the baby was born and that they could have the baby. Give me a break. So fake. Planned Parenthood has also filed a challenge to the law. Deport Planned Parenthood. Or send them to the slammer. Can we send them to the slammer? And other reproductive health providers. There's nothing to do with reproductive health. Terminating is like a religious right. Okay. Yeah, exactly. I wonder what ill-gotten gain is gotten by the abortion industry, you know? People have said they use the baby body parts for like makeup and I wonder if they get it from adrenochrome too. Do they do the adrenochrome stuff? I don't know how real that stuff is. I assume that there's some realness to that. I wonder what all, like, I've heard that they used or have used baby body parts or baby stuff with vaccines and different things. So I wonder, like, what the living are doing, what the living are gaining from this, the so-called living. Anyway, this law in Florida mirrors a similar measure in Mississippi that just was upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court, overturning Roe v. Wade. Nice. Rabbi warns of eroding the separation between religion and government. Yeah, right. You're pushing your false religion into the country. These people who push the transgender agenda, the gay agenda, the abortion agenda, the climate agenda, those are all your false religion, you people. Rabbi Barry Silver, what a name, of Congregation Lador Vavdor. The name means generation to generation, except you cut off a generation by killing the babies, dummy. But anyway, says they practice cosmic Judaism, which he defines on the, this is from NPR. It's from June 15th of this year, just last week. Defines on the synagogue's website as the Judaism of tomorrow, today. Whatever that means. That respects science, tradition, spirituality. Silver, Rabbi Barry Silver, is also an attorney, social activist, and former Democrat state legislator who styles himself as a rabbi rouser. Yeah, they are rabbi rousers, huh? What a name. So shameless, but it's true. Almost charming. Yeah, those people, so charming, but so evil. In an interview Tuesday, Rabbi Barry Silver, attorney, social activist, Democrat state legislature, Rabbi Rouser, said when separation of religion and government crumbles, religious minorities such as Jews often suffer. You're better off with Christians in charge, man. You just don't know it because you're blind, spiritually blind. Every time that wall starts to crack, bad things start to happen, he said, noting that DeSantis signed in the law at an evangelical Christian church. Oh, can't stand those Christians. What a mess. Right on DeSantis. Well, I don't know. You know, a lot of this is just, you know, when these politicians do this stuff. And I like Ron DeSantis, but it is like not going far enough. You know, for example, 15 weeks, why not at 0, at conception, for example. But 15 weeks, okay, it's likely to pass. So I understand that. But this same guy did the so-called Don't Say Gay bill, which made, 3rd grade and under. That way we can say, you just want to sexualize 8-year-olds because 8-year-olds are 3rd graders. But how about high school? All the way through high school, you can't be pushing your gay agenda and your transgender agenda. Anyway. Let's see what this says under NPR. Who wrote this article? Oh, it's from AP, the Far Left Enemies of America Associated Press. You know how these, even Breitbart will repost Associated Press articles. No faith is monolithic on the abortion issue. Yet many followers of faiths, yes, they are. It's just that the fake Christians or whatever pretend that it's fine, like my former professor. Many followers of faiths that do not prohibit abortion are aghast at that a view held by a minority of Americans could supersede their individual rights to kill babies in the womb or outside of the womb, because oftentimes they extract the baby and then kill the baby. Did you know that? I think that's a true statement. And religious beliefs such as the position of Judaism as outlined in the lawsuit. This ruling would be outlawing abortion in cases when our religion would permit us, said Rabbi Danya Rutenberg. Danya, is that a woman? Scholar in residence at the National Council of Jewish Women. Indeed, a woman. And it is basing its concept of when life begins on someone else's philosophy or theology. How about reality? I almost said woman. I don't know if I almost said it, but I almost said it. Anyway, great article. Thank you, man. But yeah, as Taking Care of Business said, appreciate the link, but you have to ask before you post the links first. Just heads up for the next time. But shout out to the guy who posted that in Odyssey chat. Nice. Origins of adrenochrome, says Canadian David. Oh, man. Okay, let me read. I think at least one super chat came in here. Yes, indeed. from streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Double White says, the only true science results are the ones revealed by God. There is no science without him. Good point. Nature and nature's God. Isn't that referenced in like the, I don't know, the Declaration of Independence? Where are my resident historians? The laws of nature and nature's God. It's true. I feel like there was something else I wanted to cover. Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention this little headline. This is old. It's from 2014. It was when I was a producer for the Jesse Lee Peterson show. It's from the Washington Compost, going back to the abortion thing. Well, it's not abortion, but it's in the Washington Compost headlines. It's not even in the Washington Compost, though. This is NPR headline. Author interviews. As a Latina, Sonia Sotomayor says, you have to work harder. Give me a break. You have to work harder as a Latina. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think you got affirmative action and you got the easy in. Because you support evil. And yeah, you got your grades or whatever. Became a lawyer/liar. Like most sitting Supreme Court justices, Sonia Sotomayor is circumspect. This is from 2014. When talking about the court, but she has written intimately about her personal life, more so than is customary for a Supreme Court justice. Quote, when I was nominated by the president, meaning Obama, for this position, it became very clear to me that many people in the public were interested in my life and the challenges I had faced, she told Fresh Air's Terry Gross, and I do mean Gross. And I also realized much of the public perception of who I was and what had happened to me was not quite complete. So she wrote this memoir, My Beloved World. She recounted growing up poor, supposedly, in the South Bronx. Remember she talked about, the poor people in Mississippi, the poor women in Mississippi who, if you don't kill the baby, then the woman is more at risk to die during pregnancy. And you'll also ruin her life. You make her more poor. You take away her choice. Living with juvenile diabetes. Whoa, she had diabetes, a chronic disease. Raised by a single mother after her father, who was an alcoholic, died. And struggling to get a good education in spite of the odds. It became a bestseller when it was published last year, meaning 2013, and has just come out in paperback. I watched my father, who I knew loved me, kill himself with alcohol. I watched a male cousin, whom I adored, enormous talent, great intelligence, destroy himself and affect his family with a great deal of pain by ultimately killing himself with drug use. And then the women. Why is it like that? It's like the women, the girls and the women they end up doing they seem more like well-adjusted, even though they're still evil, than the males in the families. Wonder what's up with that. I've noticed that in churches, among Christians. You'll see the boys are all like subdued, and the girls have all this like false confidence. And they do better in the schools. Schools seem to be like more like catered to them though. And then they push the ADHD medicine on the boys. And then it's a whole lot of female teachers too. That has always permitted me as a judge to understand that the people who came before me as defendants were human beings with good and potentially very bad things within them. It was not unusual for defendants to have families who depended on them, who loved them, who thought the world of them. What an emotional female. She does not belong being a judge or a justice. When I was being nominated to the U.S. Court of Appeals, I was asked by the Senate to give them a record of how often I had departed from the then mandatory sentencing guidelines. And judges were permitted under certain circumstances to depart downward, give a lesser sentence, or depart upwards, give a higher sentence than the guidelines called for. I was shocked to find I gave less downward departures, lesser sentences, and more greater sentences than the national average, she said. Interesting. Because of my experiences, I could treat that person in my courtroom as an individual and not as a non-entity. At the same time, hold them responsible for their acts. What a psycho woman, huh? She thinks because of her experiences, it makes her fair-minded. I don't know if I believe that. Girls get prescribed Adderall too, but in college, says Max Rex. Crazy, huh? Anyway, that's that nutty woman. You have to work harder. I wonder what she meant by that. I wonder if I could find that. Oh, man. What happened to it? Okay, anyway, whatever. Okay, on being Latina and her responsibility to her community. You have to work harder. In every position that I've been in, there have been naysayers who don't believe I'm qualified. You're not! Or who don't believe I can do the work. And I feel a special responsibility to prove them wrong. Typical. I knew, like, there was this black lady who became, like, the first black lady as, like, bachelorette or something, and she felt that she had to represent all black women. That's a dumb thing. You're not clear thinking, woman. I think I work harder than a lot of other people because of that sense of responsibility. In other words, you're crazy. Does it mean I think I have an obligation to any particular group, including Latinos? No. You just talked out of both sides of your mouth. My job is my job, particularly being a judge. I would be doing a disservice to the Latino community if I ruled on the basis of preference for any group. You clearly do. I do feel I have a special responsibility to work harder to prove myself because I am the first of a group that has been perceived as being incapable of doing whatever it is that I've had the benefit of becoming part of. What a psycho woman. What an evil woman. And she hasn't been ruling rightly. She's been promoting the anti-discrimination mess, and she's not right about the baby killing thing. She's talking about, oh, how hard it is for poor women. What a fake. You know, somebody mentioned, before I get back to calls, who mentioned this? Smells OG says, Hake, I saw your friend was posthumously promoted. A lot of good that does him, huh? But that's kind, I guess. You're talking about Mikey Paredes, my cop friend who was killed last Wednesday, I think it was? Murdered. He and his partner, whom he was training, police officer, another cop, 31 years old, Michael Paredes, 42, both married men. Married and having multiple children, young children, and they were murdered by this dirtbag over at the Siesta Inn Motel in El Monte, California. He was posthumously promoted. I did see that Fox News was covering how these cops who were killed, LA area cops who were killed, El Monte, California, left behind wives, a wife each, and 2 kids, I believe, or 3, or maybe, I forget how many kids Mikey had. And then the other guy had a daughter and twin boys, I think, something like that. So wrong. And I went to the wake, you know, told about it on Monday, the wake on Saturday. No, not the wake, vigil, candlelight vigil. It was nice. They promoted him to sergeant. Yeah, he was corporal or something like that, police corporal. Well, right on, Michael Paredes. I appreciate the service. I think he was one of the good ones. Solid guy. Let me get to Ramon in El Monte, California. Speaking of El Monte, how you doing, Ramon?
Hello?
Hey.
Oh, hi, Hake.
Hey, how you doing?
I apologize in advance if the quality of my phone call is bad. I'm listening around my phone, but I am speaking to you like through the phone. There's no speaker, no Bluetooth.
Right on, man. It's coming across okay right now.
All right. I wanted to hear your opinion on something. So there's this YouTube channel.
You got disconnected. But anyway, his subject was man. Is that him? His phone is bad, apparently. His subject was abortion, access to abortion. This notion that access to abortion decreases crime. It doesn't decrease crime. I say it doesn't decrease crime. Oh yeah, maybe in some rare cases, but that's not real. Wow, it's already ending? Oh man. Access to abortion is increasing crime because you're killing the babies. That's one crime. And then the women judge themselves and they become crazy pro-abortion radicals in some cases too. And so that's increasing crime. And then, so it's not the right solution. And then they just increase the cruelty, the general cruelty and heartlessness in the community, which increases crime. So it does. Ramon, man, I cannot get to you. This is the end of the show. So call me again on Monday if you can. I should be back on Monday, guys. This has been the Hake Report. I believe we will have a Fallen State in about an hour. TheFallenState.tv. We will have the Nickstream. Catch Nickstream on YouTube. It is excellent. Let me go to Nickstream so I can put it in the chat. Nickstream YouTube channel. Nickstream. Catch it. Do it. Do it. Coming at 4 p.m. today. It's scheduled already. Very nice. But thanks, guys. I will see you tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow. I'll see you in church. Take care.